Hello and welcome to this edition of Crossover. I'm Qi Xiaojun with Raymond and Gregory. Welcome to the show again. Not long ago, actually in early April, FBI in the United States, they released a set of online documents. It's an archive related to all these aliens. We have lots of speculations about aliens either invading the Earth or living actually among with us. We don't know, but this is the first time that kind of official documents were released online by FBI. Basically, according to the information that we can get from those archives, it is basically saying we do have evidence showing aliens have visited the Earth, at least. It is saying, according to the archive, it is saying the so-called flying saucers, I guess it's the alien spacecrafts, had been recovered in New Mexico. That's around 1947, before 1950. So they paid a visit to the Earth. And they were described as being circular in shape with raised centers. So that's basically the image that we've got about all these flying saucers of these aliens. Approximately 50 feet in diameter. Each one was occupied by 3 bodies of human shape, but only 3 feet tall, dressed in metallic cloth of a very fine texture. Any comments on this story?
They just look like a movie scene, well, exactly as what movies portray extraterrestrials to be.
But I mean, the question is, do they copy from all these discoveries, or basically, I mean, that might be the fact, and the movies were just copying what they've found.
Well, it could be the other way around, that, you know, the reality, art imitates life. It's life imitates art.
Right. But take a look. This is a body, actually, of a dead alien. He or she was hurt, I guess, when landing. Yeah. Well, we've seen something like that, an image like that in movies.
Of course. Let me put it this way. This particular report, unclassified, is not something, a big secret. Actually, an agent, FBI agent, reported this case to the headquarters. He heard it from someone else. So eventually, they have identified a person who started a rumor.
So you're saying this is a rumor?
Correct. This proved to be a hoax at long last. But at this late hour, it came out again. For example, last week, I watched a television program, Taiwan TVBS. Taiwan picked up this information also at the same time to discuss about pros and cons and so on. So it is not true. Whatever included in the document doesn't mean it's truth at all. It's just somebody said it. Who said it, why it's said, is a different story. It's not a proof with evidence, it's just a hearsay.
Interesting. So
that's true.
Do you believe in aliens? Anyway,
myself?
Yeah.
For the time being, no. Of course, there are many sayings. For example, they say they have 10 billion stars in one galaxy in the solar system, and there are billions of galaxies existing in the universe. So chances are something could have happened in another star, like similar to human beings as such. But
I'm with that theory.
Until there's a proof, I don't believe that myself, at least.
Well, it's called the Frank-Drake equation, because that scientist, he calculated basically the existence of celestial bodies that have conditions similar to Earth. And that's how he deducted that there could be the likelihood, that the possibility that other lives will be able to exist. And it doesn't mean they exist. It's the likelihood that they exist. And
right.
I feel I mean, life takes a lot of different forms.
Exactly.
And a lot of scientists believe that on stars, you know, on many stars, even in the solar system, there could be bacteria-like they call it microbial life. That's very possible. But as for high intelligent life, something like human beings, human life, that, you know, it's very rare.
I think according to the scientific investigation, there are many qualifications they have to exist before any life form will grow. For example, they need oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, and also water, and temperature. So at this time, we haven't seen any other stars in the solar system with all those continuums existing, because water, everything else. So we're trying to find out whether when we travel to the Mars, who knows, in a couple of years to find out.
I guess maybe that's just beyond our reach. I mean, we are advanced in technology compared to ourselves, compared to our history. But I mean, absolutely speaking, we might not be that advanced, and we might not just be able to reach that far to find enough information about another Earth in this universe. So we're still talking about the galaxy, we're still talking about the solar system, but there could be more than that.
I don't think that is a restraint itself. For example, 50 years ago, you would not imagine land on the moon, right? Now we have a project flying to Mars and so on. So give human beings another 200 or 300 years, you never know. It could go much further, but again, it's a question mark. So
and also the aliens, you don't know how advanced they are. They may have a way to reach us.
Are you one of them? Now, since both of you are a bit of a skeptical about the existence of aliens, but let me just show you some video.
Okay.
As an alien, as a live one.
First of all, I don't think aliens will be structured like human beings.
Yeah. Is this scenery from a movie as such? There's so many movies.
I was told it's not. It's part of like a documentary. We say seeing is believing. So when you see this, do you still believe it's not possible?
There are a lot of possibilities,
something
like that, some kind of human being don a costume and do this. There could be a lot of explanations for this, and probably it's very simple, something very simple.
This scenery by itself is no way to convince anyone that creatures of this kind does exist, because you can do anything with the tricks, with the, the technology and so on.
With the advancement of modern technology, anything can be possible on a screen.
Correct.
Well, it is not very advanced in this case.
All right. Aliens, their existence on this Earth, and there are some hypotheses about aliens being on the Earth. The first one, they've been living together with us for so many years, we just don't realize that they've been living together with us. They might be looking exactly like we do, but it's basically we don't realize they are with us. Do you believe this?
Well, that's what the movie Men in Black portrays, and I think it's a fascinating hypothesis because it just put the whole thing on a new level, symbolic level. It actually targets the different thinking or the difference among human beings. So I feel it's a good thing to start people thinking about different scenarios, not necessarily in the direction of science fiction.
I think it's important and also agreeable to have so many movies based on this type of a theory, to have aliens coming from outside space. Either they came in with a good intention to be friends with humans on Earth, or they came in with a motive to destroy the Earth. But let it be, because these variations will give you a room for imagination, room for exploration. Why not? So we have literatures, we have movies, we have hearsays, we have sincere scientists to study whether they are coming from abroad.
We can talk about aliens on the Earth, but this film actually depicts the story where human beings from the Earth are the aliens to that planet. Right? Avatar. The second hypothesis, basically what they're saying is aliens are actually our ancestors, because if you take a look at the history of the Earth, it's been here for billions of years already, but human beings, the history of human beings is like only tens of millions of years. And then how come, and all of a sudden, if you compare the length of human history to the length of the existence of the Earth, it's a very tiny amount of that length. So how come all of a sudden human beings came into being? So one explanation would be aliens. They came to visit the Earth and then they decided to stay, and that's how we all started our lives.
Yeah, they spawned a new species on Earth. Well, I think, we don't have evidence to show the existence of aliens, of, ET, but we also cannot rule out the possibility that they may exist and they may have done
all
something
be aliens.
weird. Yeah, but, it just sounds so far-fetched to me.
There are two theories. One is that in this large universe with no boundary and so on, chances are there could be creatures existing in other stars and outside the galaxy and so on. So that particular location has all the conditions to make life to start, like what happened on Earth, like billions of years ago. So it happened. The second theory is that maybe one particular planet has creatures of human nature, of mankind, so to spread, to move to different territories. But those two theories are just speculation still. They're not truth.
What about this one then? Here is another one, another hypothesis. Basically saying aliens that we might have come across these days on the Earth are actually ourselves in the future, human beings in the future. They kind of do time traveling and they're coming back from the future. We might come across with them, but these are basically human beings from the future.
Like a forward-thinking people.
Like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Remember that film?
Probably Einstein was one of them. He could think so far ahead than the rest of us.
I think so far the UFO stories have served interesting purposes, because whoever you are, whatever you are, you can find an angle to please yourself. For example, if you are an astrophysicist, you have a chance to study from the scientific point of view. If you are a novelist or writer, you can write stories. If you're actress, you can play a movie. And we enjoyed ourselves. We discussed this as a topic for our program.
But
why not?
Well, I think it's the possibility of aliens existing somewhere, among us or outside the Earth. It just provides such a fertile ground for imagination and also conspiracy theory.
What about these? I mean, I know both of you are a bit skeptical, but if we just look at the three hypotheses, either they've been living together with us for a long time, or they're actually our ancestors in long time ago in ancient times, or they are actually visitors from the future. They're part of us. They are among us. They are human beings from the future. So which one, if you compare these three, which one is more believable to you?
I would say each one may have a possibility, but again, very remote.
Right.
I would not accept that. I would not say whatever theory being put forward is good enough for me to say yes.
Okay.
Not quite.
Well, I feel the first one, among the three is more likely, because the parallel existence of some other species on some other celestial bodies is more likely than aliens being our ancestors or just living among us, time traveling to this day and age. It's just, I think, an allegorical way of looking at ourselves.
Right. Lots of people do believe the existence of aliens on the Earth in different forms, but they have their own reasons, because so many things are happening on this Earth, and so many things cannot be explained with our own theories, with our own knowledge, and that can only be explained in one way: aliens. We'll talk about that after a short break. We'll take a short break. You're watching Crossover. Welcome back to Crossover. There might be some, hypotheses, but it seems both of you, neither of you would believe any of those theories. But, there are so many things that either paintings or stories that, that's been happening around us, and we cannot explain it in a plain way, or with the theories, with the knowledge that within our grasp. Let's just take a look at some pictures from ancient China. Helanshan rock painting, I guess this has been listed as one of the most important intangible heritage sites. Some would explain it in a way like this is an astronaut, and they've been, if you take a look at the circle in the middle, that's like a rocket or a capsule, and then there is a human inside. On both sides are like the rockets. There would be some smoke, or it's like it's going up. It's been rocketed to the sky. So some would say this is like a depiction, of astronauts in ancient times being rocketed to the sky. And remember, this Helanshan rock painting is from thousands of years ago.
Yeah, about 3,000 to 5,000. I think. I was there.
You were there?
No, I visited the place. I was not among the painters.
Okay.
That's his picture right in there.
Right. So did you draw that painting?
Well,
the aliens?
I could, because I'm not a very good painter. So I think the way I interpret it, it's just like a child's scribbling. And if you're not very advanced in drawing and painting techniques, you tend to have simple lines and geometric forms.
I think it's human nature try to explain the unknown, because you feel comfortable if you know the answers to that. When you see a flying object somewhere in the sky or something happening in your dream and so on, you try to interpret, give it a meaning. So one of the possibilities is to say this is something coming from outside the space.
But the thing is, when you draw something, you say you're inspired by something. There has to be something that you might have experienced in some way. Either you've seen it or someone have told you something like that. But if it is, we're talking about rockets, we're talking about all these sky visits, then obviously that's something that wouldn't have happened at those times.
Well, most of the Helan rock paintings are about hunting, actually. Horses and rabbits, animals, which was closely related to the lives of those people in that age.
That's true.
So,
yeah. And
do you think that is part of the hunting experience?
Could be. I mean, it could be. I mean, they, as I said, they were not very good painters. They are not Leonardo da Vinci. You have to remember. So, if you look at an infant's drawing, you could interpret it in
what about
a lot of
another
different
one?
ways.
It's remember the very important period of Chinese history is Warring States period, and there were some famous rulers. One of them was called Gou Jian, and one of his swords, the sword that he used at the time, that was over like 2,400 years ago, 2,500 years ago, and the sword he used at the time, it was buried actually in his tomb, and it was dug out in the excavation of his tomb. That sword was discovered at the time, and it was still very sharp. And what's even more amazing is basically the material they found on the surface of the sword. It's something called chromium. And that is a very rare material, very rare element, even in modern days. And it is said, well, modern scientists, they've found the way to extract. It is reported that only in about 1950s that modern scientists have found the effective way to extract that material, chromium, and that was patented at the time. So how do you explain that 2,500 years ago, a material that would be even difficult for modern scientists to discover, to extract, would be used in a sword, on the surface of the sword that long ago?
Well, there are thousands of cases like that. How human beings built a pyramid thousands of years ago without all those modern equipment, still astounds me.
I don't think that incident by itself is the proof that there will be aliens coming to Earth to get the job done.
So who did it?
Somebody did it. I doubt if that's the one coming from outer space,
Right.
It's one possibility. I mean, I cannot rule out that possibility, but it's just one of many.
Okay, I can see that Gregory is still in there, totally in the position that he doesn't believe in any stories about aliens. Raymond is moving slightly to that direction.
I'm never an ardent believer of aliens, but I've never ruled out the possibility.
Right,
because I have to see the evidence.
What about the crop circles?
Crop circles, I've seen one documentary on the Science Channel. It's very simple to explain. It could be done with a couple of people with just very simple tools.
Well, how come it will be appearing in front of you just overnight? Just take a look at the pictures first. It's huge. It can only be seen from the sky. And how can you, do it overnight?
They proved it. Actually, they did an experiment and having a couple of people and doing it within a couple of hours, like, within one night. It could be done. It's not very complicated, and it's geometric, and it's just fun, and human beings can do it. Yeah, I mean, I saw that documentary, and the proof they give convinced me, basically.
They also mentioned that in a nearby location, they found a power source. If you want to use that as assistance, is available. Yeah, so, but I'm glad that things like this happened to make the life more interesting. Why not? Use your imagination and an artwork, or then explain it the way you like to be. There's no harm done.
We're going to show you some videos after a short break, and then you tell me your impression after that. No exaggeration at all. A short break first. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Crossover. We'll continue our discussion about the possibility that the aliens might be existing, because, so many things we cannot explain with even with the modern theories, modern technology, with sometimes when we see something happen with our own eyes, we have to believe something outrageous is happening there. Not long ago, it's in 2010, and last year in Hangzhou at the airport, lots of people, so many people saw something amazing happen in the sky. Take a look. It's a motion picture. So it's moving object with a huge tail.
And a good soundtrack.
Well, that has been added later, but the footage is a true footage.
It was taken on the spot?
Yes, it looks like that. Well, actually, it was widely reported.
For this one?
It lasted actually for nearly 1 hour. And the airport at the time was closed. Obviously, for safety concerns.
This in the evening, not daylight.
It's in the evening. It happened from 8:45 to 9:40.
I think they closed the airport for fear of a collision, something like that.
Yeah. Because seeing this,
right.
Sometimes seeing is not even believing. For example,
well, they did provide some kind of explanation later.
Saying this is another airplane flying through.
I forgot what the explanation was.
Right.
But
we've got more footage to show you. Another one. Here is another one. We can see, I guess this is on the radar screen. This is a plane flying together with something like a flying saucer.
The white one?
The white one on the right. It's also flying very fast.
About the same speed like the airplane, almost parallel to it.
But
doesn't look like a plane.
The plane seems to be
So this is even closer.
So did the plane find out what that object was?
Obviously not. We don't have an answer yet. Or maybe they have found it, but it's not been reviewed, so we don't have that answer yet. So, talking about exaggeration, this is no exaggeration, Raymond.
Well, I do believe there are all kinds of flying objects or illusions of light bouncing on different things and creating that kind of illusion. It's possible. But still, the evidence is
You're
not
moving further to that direction.
No, hear me out. I think the evidence is not strong enough for me to believe that there's aliens.
How would you explain that then, and things like that? An object, something, a flying object, the shape we've never seen before, but it's still flying that fast.
But obviously, whatever happened at that time was not serious enough to be considered as a subject matter of study to decide what's really going on. I don't think it's a passing phenomenon. It's gone, it's gone.
We would try to find a way out, to find, a theory out. Either it's the theory of the aliens, or like mythologies. Yes. We've had all these legends, myth stories. We've got all the stories about, say, Monkey King, about the Heavenly King, the Heavenly Call. If you can explain it in the aliens way, then these are also the aliens to us, to Chinese people.
I think it's a part of human nature to try to discover new stuff, to be innovative. At the same time, try to explain whatever happened to you. For example, in good old days, you cannot explain thunder. You cannot explain earthquake. So you gave certain interpretations to fit the time with a limitation of the knowledge at the time. Later on, you have more understanding of the universe. You give further explanation. So I think in one day, perhaps UFO would give a definite definition. At this time, it's just still exploring, still developing. It's not end of everything at all. It's still coming, unfolding at this time. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge that there are a lot of things that we don't understand and we cannot explain with the science that we know right now. But you know, to give everything to either mythology or extraterrestrial life is just a convenient way of trying to explain the unexplainable, you know, the easy way out.
But at the same time, we cannot rule out the possibility of aliens existing on this earth. Gregory?
You cannot. I agree, but it's an open-ended question. For example, do we have ghosts? Let's go to the basics. Do we believe in souls coming back to Earth? Do we believe whatever?
Afterlife, yeah.
Right, afterlife. So sometimes it's become philosophical. But again, this phenomenon's existence, the interest to study it, I think it's a healthy one. It's not something harmful. So if you believe in it, you believe in it. You try to find more about it, go ahead, do whatever you life have to do.
At least, I mean, the world of aliens can be reviewed in movies with the imagination of all these filmmakers, either in China or in Hollywood or in other countries. At the same time, human beings have never stopped in seeking the answers to all these questions. That's why all these, you know, satellites, spaceships have been sent out to the moon, to the Mars.